more than tooling at that point, right? It's process, it's people, it's the culture, it's the partnerships
100%.
between. So, and if you don't have any of those in place, and you haven't done the work to as an organization to get those in place, no tool is going to fix.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Business Disruptions in Tech. I'm your host, Howard Holton, and I'm here with Chris, Head of Cloud Security at Tenable.
That's right. Head of Cloud Security Engineering.
Cloud Security Engineering. I
Yes.
do apologize.
Yes.
We do want to make it clear we're having an engineering conversation,
Yes.
or an engineering-led conversation, not a sales or marketing-led
Correct.
conversation.
Yes.
So you said something really interesting before we started, and that was you have been at Tenable longer than most people have been in the industry.
Yes, I'm a fossil at this point at one company, which is not very common these days.
Right. So
But
how long
you
have
know,
you been there?
11 years. So November 17th, just 2 weeks ago, was 11 years at Tenable. I average about 2 years, different jobs, because I want to get sort of a taste of, you know, what folks are doing in sales and engineering and tech support and help desk, you name it. So I've tried to sort of play lots of different roles.
That's awesome. So quick question before we get into the disruption, right? I change jobs frequently as well.
Okay.
I'm about 2-3 years seems to be the average. I've had some longer ones, but the hard part, as certainly a leader, but even as an employee that deals with people that have been around a long time, is the calcification or fossilization. How do you avoid becoming fossilized? How do you avoid becoming calcified? How do you stay flexible and sharp?
And that's the reason why you don't want to get. It goes back to culture too, right? So Amit Yaron, our recently departed CEO, loves giving folks chances, and I really live by that. So if I want to take a chance at Tenable, they empower me to do that, right? And I think you have to keep testing yourself and growing and learning to not become calcified, because if you don't, then you become static. You stay, you get used to it, you get bored, you get comfortable, and then you start getting fossilized or calcified.
That is very, very true.
Yeah.
That is very
So
true.
it's the grit, it's the keep the hunger, keep the humility, keep growing, keep learning, challenge yourself.
Is there like one thing that you do that you pass on? I'm sure there's 1,000 things you do. But
Read books.
Read books.
Constantly reading books, from fantasy to
Everything, right?
to leadership books and everything between. Yeah.
Anything particular you're liking right now?
The Patrick Lencioni team builder books. I love those. How to be a team player. Those are one of my favorites.
I love it.
Easiest read. Everything's like 150 to 200 pages. It's phenomenal. Love those.
I love it. Well, let's get into it. So this is all about kind of disruptions driven from tech, and being a guy who sits in cloud security.
Yes.
I get the feeling we're about to have a conversation about how the default settings in AWS are not in fact cloud security.
Not quite. No, not at all. I have a heavy passion for cloud security and doing cloud security and doing it in a way that's understanding the basics first. We get so bogged down by all the shiny new objects, and we're chasing this and we're chasing that, and there's this new domain and this new domain. And I have clients that don't even understand who has access to their environment. I'm like, guys, let's start here first. Let's be strategic. Let's slow it down. Let's do the right stuff first. Find the things that you care about most. Start, because it's more than just a tool, right? It's a policy. It's a cultural change in certain aspects. And, I always focus on keep it simple, right?
Right.
As much as you can.
It's always interesting to me. There's no other industry other than cybersecurity where the disruption is, how about we just do the basics right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I feel like every RSA or every Black Hat or every conference, every couple years, it's like the unsexy to go back to basics.
Right.
So
Guys, can we please just use MFA?
yes.
Can we please not have shared passwords?
You would be
oh my God.
shocked. I mean, you think about Tenable, right? 25 plus years in the business, Nessus scanning for years and years and years, right? SMB v1 is still rampant out there. So like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Turn it off, guys. Just turn it off. I understand it's going to break stuff. Let it break.
Yes.
Let it break.
Yes.
Do not turn it back on. I guarantee your security posture will improve. Yes.
Guaranteed.
And sometimes you just have to do that. Otherwise, I mean, let's see. What's more open than SMB v1?
Well, you have IMDS v1 in cloud, so you have the instance metadata.
Sure.
So going back to cloud security, right? Like that's still rampantly used as well, and it's not, these things are not easy because of the scale that we have to deal with, the human resources that we have a lack of.
Sure.
So it's.
But at some point, don't we just kind of have to go like, we can't continue to kick the can. We can't continue to drag the org. The SEC has said CISOs are liable.
Right.
Like, do we not at some point just go, look, these are the rules, and that's just it. We are no longer going to play this BS game of, I don't know, consulting tag, MBA tag, whatever you want to call it, where.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I feel like you get to the point where you just want to throw your hands up and say, I can't do anything about this anymore. I've wasted too much money and spent too much money, and I'm not getting the output and the value that I think or thought I was going to get. And there's too many vendors. What's the average number of?
54.
54 vendors on average.
That's just cybersecurity.
Just
54
cyber, right.
cybersecurity tools in the average enterprise.
I just got back from the expo floor, and I was joking with a client down there, and I said, is this another agent?
Right.
Average number of agents on the endpoint, I think it's like 13 or 12 or something crazy, and that's just cybersecurity again, right? Like, you have to do your due diligence.
Right.
You have to prove that you're doing what it takes to protect the business and protect business interests.
Well, that is the job.
That is the
to
job.
be really, really clear. Like, the job of a CISO
Correct.
is to reduce risk and mitigate liability.
And communicate that to...
Correct. Well, if you fail to communicate but do the job, that would at least be maybe a C, C minus.
Right.
Right. If you fail to do that, though, that's a F.
Yes.
Right. As in you're fucked. Right. You have to learn how to communicate. If you communicate at all, maybe you get a B. If you communicate well, that's how you get an A. That's how you get an A plus, right?
Absolutely.
When you are someone that the board can reach out to and ask a question, and you get you deliver a result that has them go, that's exactly what I was looking for. You made me feel better. You're doing the job well.
Yeah. Make yourself look good.
Correct. Right. Right. If you don't believe you're a hero yourself, you're never going to be a hero.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Or you live long enough to become the villain.
I guess that's true. It's true. We call that an analyst. I mean, as someone who runs an analyst firm, there's a lot of us that are like, I mean,
that's good.
We said no so many times, we just made it a profession.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
All right. So like SMBV1, and I'm sure when you see an organization that has SMBV1 still running, they didn't stop spending money in 1987. They're still investing in cybersecurity. Right?
Well, and that's the thing is like, it's so hard because like I feel like I spend so much time coaching the market. Like I give talks at Reinforce and reInvent. Some of our product leaders we're giving talks today at reInvent, and we're trying to coach back to the basics, right? Back to the basics. Just patch the easy stuff, understand the access, configurations, like those types of things. Not chasing the shiny new object that's out there, right? And it's hard to do that when you have newsflash, Shai Hulud 2.0 coming out, all these different things you have to worry about chasing down to give answers for folks that are asking questions. So, I mean, it's not an easy job. It's not for the faint of heart.
It's a job I've held many times. There's a reason I don't do it anymore. But
even at the analyst level,
100%, 100%, right? I mean, anybody that got into this because it's easy probably didn't understand the job.
Correct.
Right?
They probably got out pretty quickly.
Sure. Right, I know plenty of sysadmins that are now running a family farm.
Yes,
right.
They're probably way happier.
Every one of them I know is way happier. Yeah, they might not be the crazy ones. But still, right? The easy thing is the easy thing, not because it's easy to do. In this case, like SMBV1, it's because it is a giant, enormous target.
Yes, the scalability of what's out there. And answering that question is almost impossible. It ranges, of course, because you have the mom and pops and you have the big enterprises and the large healthcares and the telecoms and stuff, of course. But, I mean, there's a massive cybersecurity engineering shortage. So you talk about the human resources side of it. Then you talk about the tooling side. Are we doing the right things? Are we seeing everything that we should be seeing? Are we scanning the right things that we should be scanning? And then the mobilization aspect, which is like the security team could be detecting all the things. They could be, generating the best reports ever. They're probably not the ones patching or fixing.
No, they never are.
So is there a pathway where you have folks that are held accountable to actually patch and fix these things? Because a lot of time that loop is not closed.
Oh, for sure. But also, that loop is not it's not a straight circle.
No. It's a very
It's like trying to find your way
Yes.
from the Venetian to here.
Yes,
right?
yes,
I've got 73 elevators I've got to navigate. It is
Escalators.
like 4 mazes, escalators, bridges,
Yep.
moving walkways, taxi cabs, one-way streets. Can't make a U-turn here. There's construction. Like that is actually what it feels like trying to get some of this stuff through an organization.
Yes.
Right. And so I will also say it's not a clear path. And sometimes, and I've been on both sides, right? I've been a CIO, a CTO, and a CISO. So sometimes I'm the CISO going, we need to patch this. Sometimes I'm the CIO going, I mean, that's cool, but we're running a 24/7 operation here. You want to take that down to do the patch.
Yep.
We don't actually have a way to test that. And last time we did it, it failed miserably. So I don't have the trust of these 7 people that I need to have the trust of to be able to just pull the plug on this on a Saturday.
100%. And
Right.
it goes back to, it's more than tooling at that point, right? It's process, it's people, it's the culture, it's the partnerships
100%.
between. So, and if you don't have any of those in place and you haven't done the work to as an organization to get those in place, no tool is going to fix.
No. Well, tools don't fix anything,
Correct.
right? It's understanding how to use a tool that fixes anything.
Well, it could make it worse.
For sure.
It could even make, if you don't have those sort of pathways, sort of defined, if you will.
Yeah,
But
anybody that doubts that, find a 3-year-old and give him a hammer.
yes.
Right?
Yes, I have a 3-year-old and I've given him a hammer before.
Yeah. It's hilarious for a few minutes.
Right, until he's like slamming into the drywall
Right.
that's like already fixed.
And then as soon as you turn your back,
Yes.
it's like at the second,
Yep.
right? So how do we get people to identify the things that are critical,
Yep.
communicate the need, and then take action?
I think that's the challenge. It's a little bit of a tool, right? It's a little bit of a tool. That's like one of the things that, we were talking about a little bit of vision and for Tenable as a whole, right? We've been in this sort of exposure space for 25, 30 years, understanding vulnerabilities, software vulnerabilities, configuration vulnerabilities. And that's just one part of that equation, right? You have to mobilize it. The partnership and the ecosystem, I think, is incredibly important. We are not naive in thinking that everybody's going to standardize on one platform. It's not going to happen.
Well, I hope it doesn't happen.
I hope it doesn't happen
Right.
either. Even as a vendor, I'm like, you need to understand that there are organizations out there that will and probably should go best of breed. Like, for instance, Tenable is never going to become your SIM event management tool, and we should never do that, right? There are SIM management tools out there that are perfectly fit for what they do for these organizations. We need to integrate and build an ecosystem with our partnerships and deliver better results, leveraging multiple endpoints, tools, alerts, findings, weaknesses, and then layer over top your prioritization so that you're not just given millions of haystacks to try and find the needle.
This is my biggest complaint as CISO. What are you going to do for me? Well, we're going to expose all this stuff. Cool. I already have about a third the number of people I need who are probably trained to about a third of what I'd like them trained to, right? So figure I'm at 10% of the capability that would make me happy in total. You're just going to create more tickets for me? That's your solution?
And that's the thing. Is like every time I give talks at colleges and high schools to try and drum up excitement about cybersecurity industry, because I'm like, guys, not everybody needs to be an engineer. Like you could do so many things because we have a massive shortage in the human resources aspect and talent and understanding. And as I talk through this, I think about the human resources aspect to it. So when I talk to CISOs, I'm like, that's a big concern. There's not a vendor here that won't give you another alert.
For sure.
Right? Like, that's not what I want to do. That's not what we want to do at Tenable. We want to be very sure that if we're telling you that this thing matters, that we went through the due diligence of proving that we promise that there's, vulnerability intelligence and research and all these great things that we put into it that says you should pay attention to this vulnerability because there are things that are downstream that are connected to it that really matter for your organization.
How do you validate that they really matter?
And you go back to integrations, right? So you go back to ServiceNow, CMDBs. We only know the environment as well as you tell us about that environment, right? So we can take a best first stab or first guess at it, but it's only ever going to be as good as the information that's given to us.
So if I'm a Tenable client, and this probably applies to a competitor of yours, but let's just stick with you because you're going to know that the best. What is like a top common mistake that you see your customers make that you'd really prefer I avoid making?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it ranges, right? It could be because, I talked about we're in exposures, right? So we do everything from vulnerabilities and configuration, et cetera. But we're in OT. We're in, remote workforce. We're in cloud security. We're in web application. Assessment,
Just pick
right?
one. So cloud security.
Yeah, cloud security.
So
okay.
what's an easy thing, or what's a top thing that if I'm watching this podcast right now, I should pull up my Tenable, I should send an email, I should reach out to the admin.
I wouldn't even say that it was a tool thing. Honestly, I think that it is a tool thing secondarily. What I see more is that people don't involve identity into the equation.
I love that.
Constantly. So 99.99% of organizations federate into their cloud. Why would you not tell us about Okta and Ping and OneLogin and Entra ID? Because you could have 20 developers assuming a single role. How are you sure that the person who assumes that one role is not 20 different people? Who is that person? How do you get back to the originating person? So it's the lack of context around access.
But that would mean that social engineering works, and I thought we had solved that. Didn't we solve social engineering? We fixed the people problem, didn't we? I mean, the reality is, right?
Yes.
Anytime we bring up identity, that's the first thing I think.
Yes.
That is the number one attack path, by far.
Every time, this is what makes me want to rip my hair out. I do this identity talk because I love identity and cloud security and stuff, right? Because when you look at the problems around cloud, every single issue, you can go, there's the identity problem right there. Whether you have a vulnerability here that lets you in or a publicly accessible thing that lets you in, the kill chain hasn't changed in 25 years. It's still the same thing. We just give it funnier names and different names and stuff. And so I'm like, well, if identity is the root cause of all of my pain, then why wouldn't we focus on really understanding that? And at the end, I always ask trivia, kind of funny questions. And I say, who here is comfortable with 100% sure that they know who has that third-party access to your cloud environment? I never get a single hand raised, not one.
Yeah, I'm a fairly small company, and my hand's not going up.
Yeah.
Right. The reality is this is complex, and I agree with you. I think identity is the biggest source of risk inside the organization, without a doubt.
But what I've been seeing, though, is that there's this transition from the identity being a function of the CIO organization to a security function.
I'm not sure that solves the problem.
I'm just saying what I'm seeing, right? This is what I'm seeing across customer base, right? I think it's a not a last-ditch effort, but an effort to bring the folks that care and understand identity closer to security.
Sure. But the question then becomes: is identity primarily an enablement, or is identity primarily a security?
I think it's both.
Sure, but it can't be.
It enables the business.
Sure,
but it has to be foundational to what you're understanding in the risk of the organization.
Sure,
has to be.
But if you pick security, then enablement suffers because you're adding friction.
Yes.
If you pick enablement, then security.
It's like the levers, right?
Correct.
We can do these two levers, but we can't do this lever. Yes, I know.
I'm not saying I have a solution for it. I'm not saying I have a perfect answer. That's not where I was going with that, right? But it is something to consider.
Yeah.
And then you have AI.
And then you have AI.
Right?
Yes.
And if we want to talk about, throwing a monkey wrench in.
There was a great report from Microsoft a couple years ago or a year and a half ago about service accounts. The ratio, I'm sure, has gone up since then, but it was 1 to 10. I love talking about this because people, when they think they have a handle on human identities, just hockey stick, right? When you're talking about service accounts, and AI workloads and services are leveraging these service accounts to do and communicate to other services. And I'm like, now that's going up and up and up, and these are other sort of attack vectors that you have to worry about.
But AI is not a non-human identity either.
No. The service itself is assuming to get to something else.
Sure, but that's the problem, though, right? Sometimes AI looks like a service, an application. Sometimes AI looks like a human because it is impersonating.
Yep.
Sometimes it is doing a combination thereof. Sometimes it's doing something totally new. And here's the trippy part for me. AI's inconsistent. It's so inconsistent, we added hallucination to our canonical use of language.
Yes.
Right? the number of times I heard hallucination before really had to do with, oh, so you were at Burning Man last week? And outside of that conversation, I didn't really talk about hallucination.
Yes,
now
yes.
it's like every third conversation has 12 peppers of, little sprinkles of that word in it. The problem when it comes to identity for me is think about your average person working in insert non-technical domain. So HR, let's say, right? Pam works in HR, and Pam has a user account and a bunch of rights assigned to that user account.
Yep.
Pam uses some percentage of that access every day, probably like 4%. Because we're terrible at assigning those permissions, right? Pam has
what's least
way
privilege?
more, right?
What is that?
Right. The least privilege is the least amount of effort to assign privileges.
Yes.
Right?
It's funny, but it's not.
It's right. It's terrifying. But we know what Pam does, so the risk is actually pretty low. Right? The risk is only something we think about if, one, Pam turns to an insider threat.
Yep.
Still fairly rare, but does happen. Or two, Pam's account is compromised through social engineering or some other methodology, right? Well, there's a third way, and this way is much more scary for me. And that is an AI impersonates Pam as part of an actual legitimate request. And then the AI acts in a way that Pam would not.
Okay.
Which an AI can absolutely do.
Sure.
We watch it all the time. It happens all the time.
Yep.
It's not even technically a hallucination at that point.
Yep.
But it is in fact the value of AI. The value of AI is it doesn't come along with the same human biases. It doesn't come along with the same actions. It has a lot more freedom in its actions. It doesn't have 40 years of doing the same thing and clicking the same buttons, right?
Yep.
But now that AI has all the permissions that Pam has, not the ones that Pam uses.
So in this scenario, is this a sort of something that she's installed or has gotten installed? Like,
Sure.
Okay. So all of them, yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Because neither one of them are better than the other.
Yeah.
Right? Pam has permission to drop tables in SAP in the ERP for whatever reason. Because, man, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Right? The
I believe
CEO's administrative assistant is an administrator to the ERP.
Yep.
I have no idea
Yeah.
why. That's what they decided. And if you try to take it away, you can take it away. You just can't tell them. But if you try to take it away and do it incorrectly, then it just gets added back in.
Absolutely.
Right? Now add AI to that, and what happens? Also, let's keep in mind, no matter how fast Pam clicks, she's still one human with one mouse on one desktop. AI is not. It's none of those things, right? So if we continue to ignore identity, this is where I fear it's going to go horribly, horribly wrong. And this is the scenario I laid out has nothing to do with anything malicious, just malintended.
Correct.
Right? Just unintended. The unintended consequences of what in fact is, from a human perspective, very much a non-human chaos engine.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the challenges of our time right now is understanding, well, in the concept or from the perspective of artificial intelligence, using it to do your job better, but also the shadow AI that folks are using that are on approved lists, like what's out there, who's using what is it doing, what does it have access to? These are all questions that we think about constantly. And then there's, of course, the AI that your vendors and your tools have sort of embedded into their products, right? I mean, if you go to the expo floor, it's AI this and AI that and AI agentic AI and all this kind of stuff.
So much of this is new, and so much of this is really important, and it's moving at the speed of AI, right? I am a firm believer that any organization that has a no AI policy is effectively committing seppuku, right? They're effectively shooting themselves in their head. You cannot, even if you were able to be successful, you're effectively signing your company's death warrant. It's an infinite number of knowledgeable, maybe not super useful yet, but knowledgeable potential employees that are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for pennies an hour.
Yep.
So if you're not taking advantage of it, you're missing out, right?
Plus
it's a force multiplier, it's a capability, it's a
engineering innovation.
Right.
The engineers love using these tools. And if they can't use them, they're going to go somewhere else that they can use them.
Right. Sales loves using them, marketing loves using them. Anybody that starts investing time finds something that they really enjoy doing with them, even if it's just, asking a question. One of the things I love most about AI that I wish people understood is AI has no ego.
Zero.
Right? Maybe it has an attitude, but only if it's been told to.
I was going to say maybe grok a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, sure. But the reality is it has no ego. It also doesn't, it's not judgmental. It doesn't care about you.
Yep.
Like it's not a human, therefore it doesn't have those emotions, which means There is no such thing as a dumb question that you ask AI. None. There is no question you should be ashamed of asking AI. Absolutely none.
It's like the Reddit subthread and like no stupid questions, right? Yep.
Right. But it's true, right? Because all the Reddit ones are asked by are answered by trolls.
Right.
Like that subreddit is absolutely.
And sometimes you do get made fun of.
You do. You absolutely do. But AI won't do that, right? So we need to enable people to use these things, and we need to do what we can to help people understand how to get value out of them and how to trust them. Which means, as organizations, our policy cannot be no AI.
Correct.
Right?
Cannot get in the way of innovation.
Right. So what have you seen that's reasonable and useful and something that you think that you would tell people kind of works? At least look at this.
Yeah. Tool-wise? Okay, so what we've done, just because I'm close to it, is just come out with policies that enable the business to leverage. So approved tools, security review boards, AI boards, fair use policies, work with the business to make sure it's been reviewed and it's been, has the sign off from security, and we can assess and track it accordingly, and then folks can use it for, whatever business purpose they want to. That's to me, it's more of a policy thing, right? The prompt injection and analysis of like what people are doing prompt wise is maybe like a downstream thing, but
For sure.
yeah, you can't come out of the gate with that, right? Sure. Like,
even if you could, until you tell people what they're allowed to use,
yeah,
they're allowed to use everything.
Correct.
Right.
But even then, if you're like, hey, we're only assessing prompts for certain AI, and you run into one problem, what's a human user going to do? They're just going to go to something else.
Correct. They're going to go pick something else.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really about enablement.
Yes, enablement and training and awareness is probably where I would focus on. Yep.
Awesome. Well, how do people get a hold of you?
So besides just going to the Tenable website, I'm on LinkedIn, Christopher Edson. I use my full name just so everyone can find me a little bit easier. Edson. It's like Edison without the I. So
yeah, that's good, because I had heard Edison every time you said it. That's why I asked you to spell it. And then that time I was like, maybe there's no I.
It's probably because I say it so fast, but no I like Thomas Edison, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
I hope
Thanks for having me. It was great.
Yeah, this was really fun. I love these conversations. Yeah. I think they're fun and exciting, and I like when we don't have to resort to the new hotness, but can instead talk about how we kind of go back to basics and refresh that.
That will be something that I always trumpet for forever, probably for the rest of my career.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. If we can't get the basics right, the rest of it doesn't matter,
right? It matters, man. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us. This has been another episode of Business Disruptions in Tech. As always, like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you on the next episode.